Welcome to Wisdom for Nonprofits, bringing the best business wisdom to the nonprofit world. Proven leaders share their experience, insights, and best practices. Finally, a podcast for the busy nonprofit professional. And now, your trusted advisor, Betina Pflug.
Welcome to another insightful episode of Wisdom Woman. I'm your host, Betina Pflug, and in today's episodes, we delve into a hidden challenge of leadership, featuring a remarkable guest, Dr. Luiz Roberto Fava. I'm thrilled to have Dr. Luiz joining us today. He's the father of one of my old friends here who lives in Australia, and Dr. Fava's journey into holistic well-being and leadership began in 2004, when he expanded his horizons to explore the connection between overall health, well-being, time management, stress management, and quality of life. And why is that? He used to be a dentist specialized in endodontics with an impressive 49 years of experience in his field. But throughout his career, he has proved exceptional care and pain relief to his patients, establishing himself as a respected authority in this field. But his experience goes beyond dentistry. He has written several books, published numerous research papers, and contributed to over 100 scientific papers in his pursuit to understanding the intrinsic relationship between health and holistic well-being. After he retired from his clinical practice and academic endeavors, he moved here to Australia and started dedicating more time for one of his passions, inspiring leadership and promoting holistic well-being. He believes that well-being encompasses physical, emotional, mental, social, and spiritual aspects, and his aim is to help individuals to reach their fullest potential and live a balanced, fulfilled life. Throughout his books and academic works, he shares valuable knowledge and insights to empower individuals and communities. That's why I invited him to be here with us today. In these episodes, we will explore the hidden challenges of leadership through the lens of Dr. Luiz Roberto Fava's expertise. We will gain profound insights into the negative behaviors, biases, and challenges that leaders often face and the potential consequences they can have on individual, teams, and organizations. Dr. Fava will provide valuable analysis, case studies, and practical strategies for recognizing and managing the dark side of leadership, as well fostering the healthy and sustainable leadership approach. Get ready for a thought-provoking conversation as we uncover the hidden challenges of leadership and discover strategies to navigate them. Join me in welcoming Dr. Luiz Roberto Fava to Wisdom Woman. Thank you so much, Roberto, to be here with us today.
Hello, Betina. How are you? Hi to you. Hi, everybody from Australia. I'm very pleasure to stay here and contribute to some my expertises in these areas.
Thank you so much, Roberto. As you notice, he's also from Brazil, and like me, English is not the first language. We'll do our best to share our knowledge here today and help you out. We will start on sharing some insight of the concept of leadership and why understanding the dark side of leadership is crucial for personal and professional growth. Can you clarify this to us, Roberto?
Well, Bettina, the name is quite different. Leadership. Leadership means energy that is emanated from the leader. And my point of view is this dark side is that what we don't see, energy we don't see. So my point of view in writing the book was that main the main principle is energy, and energy is all that exists. So as we don't see energy, I call it dark side. But energy is present in your breathing, in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your actions. Energy fulfill everything.
I totally agree with you that even through our podcast here, we're emanating energy, and our intention here is to empower you as a leader to find and use this energy in a good way. So, what inspired you to delve into the complexities of leadership and write a book that focus on illuminating the less explored aspects of leadership?
Uh, uh, when I began to think about these topics, I remind some very important quotes and I put them together. I will uh, talk about which quotes inspired me to write this book, The Leadership, The Dark Side of the Leadership, The Dark Side of Leadership. The first one, Einstein's quote, where he said, energy is all that exists. The second one was Nikola Tesla's quote, and he said, if you wanted to think, if you wanted to understand the universe, you must think about thoughts and feelings, because the thought and feelings are energy that are transmitted in waves, like sound and light. The third one is one quote that says, "The invisible is what gives rise to the visible." So
Mm.
imagine a beautiful tree, and you see the leaves all colored and this beauty, and you stay astonished with its beauty, and you think, where this beauty comes from? And the answer is from the roots, because they are inside the ground. But you see the roots? No. You see the beauty, but this beauty comes from the roots. So everything we do, all actions that commands everything in our lives comes from our thoughts and our feelings. And we don't see these thoughts and these feelings. They are manifested in our actions.
That's so
The
beautiful.
the other quote comes from uh, I study the other quotes. No, the other study that inspired me was David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. He was American psychologist, and in his study, he measured the frequency of our feelings,
Hmm.
and he uh, makes a scale from the lowest frequency, that's shame, to uh, the highest, that was illumination, about 1000 hertz. And this was very important study, because we know to classify our feelings in positive, above 250 hertz, and negative, low than 250 hertz. And this study was also demonstrated in a quote by Robert Jarros, who said that leaders influence the team's emotions. The team's emotions drive overall performance. So, in every team or every organization, energy is present in the form of thoughts and feelings. And this energy may be positive or negative. So I put all this together, and this was the start of my book, Bettina.
That's amazing. This scale of energy is also part of my witchy planner and is one of the teachings I share with my coaching clients. It's so important to perceive how is your energy level every day. And the goal is to just increase a little bit every day. And if you just bring awareness, I see the impact on my clients. So I foresee for sure a big impact on leaders when they are aware of their energy. So, in your book, you explore the qualities and behavior that contribute to a positive leadership. What are some key characteristics of effective and empowering leaders?
Well, we have a lot. Uh, One of the most important is the leader to be a visionary, to see the future. And normally, that's what Previo said. It's invisible that creates or gives rise to the visible. And this visionarism, it's the unknown. And the leaders must be this expertise to see the future and brings the future to the present days. This visionarism is essential. The other one is integrity. Leaders must be honest, must be empathetic, must have effective communication, must have decisiveness and accountability, and in a world that changes every second, adaptability and empowerment. So, uh, all of these skills are developed uh, as time goes by. We don't
Mhm.
we were not born with them. So a leader must stop and uh, he has self knowledge and perceive where are the blind spots, the weakness points that must be developed as a leader. And for that, he must use his energy.
Mhm. You mean the blind spots of the leaders or the blind spots of the team?
Initially, the leader, you must lead yourself first and then lead others. So,
That's a great advice. Yes, work on you first, lead by example, and then once you change and you show your vulnerability, then your team will change.
yes, yes. And in the book, I talk about leading by example because we have in our brain a structure, a nervous structure called mirror neuron. And this is is essential when a leader leads by example. He uses this nervous structure in his brain.
Wow, that's so cool. And how do these positive leadership behaviors positively impact the teams, the individuals, and the organizations?
It has impact in individuals, in teams, and organization. So, evaluate the individual impact. We may talk about motivation, empowerment, personal growth, personal development, well being, and satisfaction. When we think in terms of team impact, we may talk about collaboration, cooperation, and this is one of the most important expertise that a leader could have because in the century, in the 21st century, there was a very impactable change in the ways of work. In the 22nd, we have a structure that was vertical, and we were classified according our age. We have the old and we have the young. But in the 21st century, it happens horizontality of this way, and we have another topics to consider, like ESG, inclusion, collaboration, cooperation. So if a leader doesn't adapt himself to this new way of changes that comes with the into in the century 21, probably he will following being a boss, not a real leader.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
big difference being a boss and being a leader.
yes.
As a
And
leader, you have to inspire people, not tell them what to do, isn't it?
yes, I talk about inspiration in the course of our interview. And for the organization impact, the energy of the positive energy of the leader um, helps in retention and attraction of people, high levels of performance and productivity, and a better organization culture, and a better employee satisfaction and well-being. So the positive leaders' behaviors really helps the people, teams, and organization to grow and to be better for working there.
Wow, that's impressive. Yes. And could you provide us with some examples of story that highlight the positive outcomes of exemplary leadership in real life situation?
Oh, yes, I can give you two. There is a lot of examples, but I really like the style of Nelson Mandela from the country transition from apartheid to democracy. This
Mm-hmm.
is a very impressive behavior, uh, how to manifest his ideas to overcome challenges and to bring Africa to a democracy. We may cite Martin Luther King, that was the same in the United States about racism. And another example of a wonderful leadership was comes from Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand after the shootings in 2019. She demonstrated love, compassion, empathy, and unity. And another example comes from the Gates Foundation about the universal or global health initiatives. So the story has a lot of examples, and how many people uh, goes on leading people and behind using his energy.
And what are some key factors that enable leaders to harness their strength and lead from a place of authenticity and inspiration, not to be like a boss, as you said?
Yes, I like a famous Maya Angelou's quote that said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
So when I look at this quote, I had an insight and I created an acronym. Uh, it have 7 letters and is imports. What is imports? Every letter means has a meaning. The I is from inspiration. A leader inspires. The M is from motivation. A leader motivates. The P is pertainment. A leader develops the sense of pertainment that you said at the beginning of this interview. The
Like feeling
O,
belonging to the place.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
the O is from orientation. A leader is the compass or the ways to show the way. The R is rootedness. And this means to create bonds. They are firmly established among the team members. And rootedness is a word that I never seen in leadership books or as behavior or soft skills that leader must develop. And the T is from transformation. A leader transforms. This means constant changes and constant learning, lifelong learning. And the S is a word that doesn't exist, that is soulless. Soul is our spirit and essence, is the immaterial aspect of the human being. And lace is entanglement. It
Mm,
is being involved with the team members in a way that it makes difficult to escape.
I
So
understand. Yeah.
when when I said about rootedness, the solace is also correlated word. And solace means that leader sorry. This means that the leader's ability to lace the souls of the team members together with its own soul. So, solace is the spiritual and immaterial aspect of leadership. And this you don't see. It is reflected by the actions and the examples that the leader show to the team members and to the members of all organization.
I love what you said, so it's how important it is. I read an amazing book from Sadhguru that's about karma, and he explains on this book the entanglement. We have so many examples about this entanglement in constellation sessions as well. We do a lot of organization constellation sessions, and entanglement happens also in the work environment.
Yes, yes. And when I study quantum physics, there is a phenomenon called uh, quantum entanglement.
Uh-huh.
And this means that in few words, if you take two particles or two atoms, when one particle suffers an alteration of his movement or its movement, the other one that is entangled to it will suffer the same modifications, the same transformations, even if they are spaced from a lot of kilometers.
Wow, if you're ever entangled with someone, you keep this connection. That's That's
Yes.
impressive. See, we are connected. I met your daughter 30 years ago and we're still connected. Now we're together here in Australia.
Well, Bettina, that's the same happened to me during the COVID. I stayed in Brazil for 1 year and 9 months, and Lucia here in Australia.
Uh-huh.
And I believe me and Lucia are the examples of love entanglement.
Yes, for sure. For how long have you been together?
We began our relationship in 1967. We are
Wow,
we are together uh, 5, 6 to 7 years.
wow, that's so good. And talking about this entanglement, it's super important for the leaders to cultivate also self-awareness and leverage their strength to create this positive impact in their teams and organization. So how leaders can cultivate the self-awareness? That's a key question.
We talk about self-knowledge. Lead yourself first before to lead people. So you may go inside it, look to your inside and reflect about yourself. This is the first thing to be considered. The second one is to seek for feedback. Seek for feedback with your mentors or colleagues or team members. Uh, Make a self-reflection about your values, about your principles, about your beliefs. This is very important. The second one, I said it before, identify your blind spots. Identify the points that you have to be better. That's very important. Uh, Fortunately, we were born knowing nothing. Everything we learn as time goes by. So we are not perfect. We we were born not perfect, and we will die not perfect. So during this period called life, we have the opportunity to be better step by step, step by step. The other important point is to develop some kind of intelligence. Many people nowadays talk about emotional intelligence, but I believe that it is not only emotional intelligence. We must go beyond and practice, know and practice spiritual intelligence and vibrational intelligence. And very few people talk about that. In my last book, the English translation is Alliance Basis for a Spiritual Leadership. I talk about spiritual intelligence, and it goes beyond the rational and the emotional intelligence. It's intelligence in a high level. Well, I may talk about a lot about it, but it's not the question here. The other point is continuous learning. I talked about previously. It's essential for a leader be continuous learning because the world is continuous changing and we don't know everything. We are not the owners of the truth. So another one is to build a diverse team. Uh, People with different ideas really contribute to the evolution of the team. Different ideas are not conflicted, although many people loves to catch when
Uh,
they have opposite opinions. But this is not the case. If you have in your mind that an opposite idea is a way to transform, modify, and grow. This is very important. And what more we can about this delegate? Delegate is a very important. Leaders must delegate, and for delegation, they have to develop two, not two, five elements: trust, respect, empathy, forgiveness, and transparency. And many of the books you read about leadership only respect and trust are emphasized. They don't emphasize the other three elements: empathy, forgiveness, and transparency. I believe this a leader must reflect about these things before lead other people. I believe these are some of the skills that must be developed by a leader to to be a positive leader, Bettina.
I agree with you. I think when I'm leading, what really helps me is paying attention on the people that I'm talking to see their reaction. Give the time for them to process your message and see in their face how they have welcomed your message. Are they happy? What is their body language? How they perceive your message? Because if you stay and really present, pay attention on how your message landed on the other person, it's still possible to fix if you do any mistakes. So
Yes.
that self-awareness comes from a space of giving the time and being present. That's why it's so important to meditate. What you cover is so important. We really need to connect to our hearts, not just our minds when we're leading. When you connect to your heart, it's a different level. It's totally different. And leaders have to have this awareness. The 30 centimeters strip from your mind to your heart is the longest that you're gonna
Yes.
reach.
And
In your life.
in the California, there is an institute called the HeartMath Institute, and this institute has developed a lot of studies about the heart. And he said that our heart is the place of our feelings and emotions. So, and our heart has a, a special neuron networking where when we feel something, they send a message to the brain neurons to that will command our actions. So many of our attitudes begins in our heart. And in the book, I talk about the heart area. And this is not about the organ, heart, but
Mm.
in this area, in the center of our chest, we have the heart, we have the heart chakra that commands the energy of the area. We have uh, our thymus, that is our um, endocrine gland that is responsible for our immune reactions because it produces a very special immune cell that's T lymphocyte. So we have the electromagnetic field of our heart. And this electromagnetic field, it comes bigger or smaller according the type of our feelings. If you have negative energy and negative feelings, the diameter of this field is low, and you have positive feelings and positive energy, the diameter of these electromagnetic fields, it grows. It's very important the leader to know that, because the entanglement, as we said before, many occurs with the entanglement of our electromagnetic fields from our hearts. It's very the study of the Heart Math Institute are very, very, very interesting about this topic.
Wow, that's so interesting. And what strategies and practices can leaders employ to foster a healthy and inclusive work environment that promotes this growth, collaboration, and success that we're talking?
I believe you laugh. Being a syringe leader.
Mhm. Yeah.
And what is a syringe leader? Imagine a syringe, a medical syringe. What you use a syringe? Basically, for two things. One, to inject medicaments in your body, and the other is to remove blood for laboratory tests, for lab tests. So now imagine a syringe leader. He will inject his positive energy, and he will remove the negative energy.
Oh,
So
I like the
this,
parallels.
this is the most basic strategy that a leader can use in few words.
That's very interesting. I thought you were talking about being a servant leader, but then it's not servant. He's talking about syringe.
Yes,
Makes sense. Makes sense. Putting the good out there and removing what's not. And the way
yes,
you can put the good is like putting water in a full cup. Is just adding more water, adding more positive, and somehow you're gonna eliminate the negative and
yes.
transform the
There,
energy group.
there is a chemical uh, statements that talk about entropy and syntropy. And if you imagine a system, when the energy is going out of this system, this is entropy. And this energy that goes out will never be replaced. Imagine, for example, an ice cup into a glass of water. What will happen to the ice cup? He will become water. And this energy that uh, makes the ice cup to become a water will be never replaced if you put the water in the fridge.
Mhm.
Okay? Imagine a flashlight that you forget to put it off. What will happen? When the battery will be empty, this energy will never be replaced. You have to change the battery to to the flashlight works again. Imagine a bedroom from an adolescent. What a mess! If,
I
if
have two at my house.
and if a father or mother didn't inject his energy and said, "Go put this mess away," what happened? The bedroom will follow the mess. So, this concept means that syntropy is the opposite. And if you consider a team like a system, the leader must continually inject his energy for this system don't be entropic. So, the leader or the syringe leader do this: inject and inject and inject and remove and remove and remove.
Constantly.
From
Yes. Work on their self-awareness constantly. keep evolving. Keep
Yes,
bringing good energy. Yeah, that's true. And how does this emotional intelligence play a role in building a strong relationship? Does it foster trust and leadership and empathy? How they
yes,
can use emotional intelligence?
yes. As I said before, emotional intelligence is very important, but I believe that spiritual intelligence is in a high level. But talking about emotional intelligence, that is your question, we may see that emotional intelligence build stronger relationships. And this, uh, I talk about the rootedness when we mention the acronym imports. Emotional intelligence permits to lead with empathy. Emotional intelligence uh, develops trust and respect. So we have a lot of things that emotional intelligence becomes a very important tool to leaders.
I
But
totally. Yeah.
but if you can join your um, intellectual intelligence, your hard skills, with your emotional intelligence, your soft skills, and your spiritual skills. And no one talk about spiritual skills. I do that. I did that in my recent book. And this is like an umbrella that covers the intellectual and emotional intelligence. It is like a helmet. It's another level that leaders must think about and develop to be uh, uh, a leader for the century 21. And Dalai Lama said, leaders from the century 21 will be spiritual leaders. So, if a leader will only use his self knowledge for thoughts and feelings, he will be a leader. But if he will use the spiritual area that normally it is not said in leadership books, they will be a spiritual leader. And this spiritual leader is the leader that develops feelings according to the Hawkins scale that are up from the 500 hertz to the big feelings until 1000 hertz.
Wow, you trigger on me a curiosity to study more about my spiritual skills.
Well,
I
go ahead.
I see different things. I see different aspects on the spiritual life and how can we use spirituality in our lives. That's really true. You triggered that on me. I will study more. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I'll give you my book about spirituality.
wow, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I would
and
like to discuss with you also the ethical dilemmas that leader may face on how they can navigate while they're upholding integrity and ethical standards in companies. Because some companies, they are so diverse, they don't want to talk about spirituality. So how they can approach these ethical dilemmas?
huh, we have a lot of ethical dilemmas that leaders face during his activities. We have, for example, ethical misconduct. And we know, especially in Brazil, that many companies are not ethical. And profit is the main objective. money is the main objective, and does not import what way the company will use to reach this objective. And this kind of companies forget that people are behind the profit. Thoughts and feelings are behind the productivity. So, if you, as a leader that has some principle, beliefs, and values that doesn't match with, with the values of or the culture of a company, a non-ethical, I normally say to these leaders, out, go out because you will not be happy. So ethics is a philosophical concept, and it may have a lot of definitions. So for a leader, uh, if he is a spiritual leader, certainly he will be ethics. It will be ethics. And if so, probably he will many problems if companies are not so ethical as him.
Yeah,
The
yes, I
other,
agree with you. Yes, working on the values and understanding, we go back always for the self-awareness, how important it is for you to have self-awareness of your own values and choose a company where you can express and you're aligned with the values of the company. That's so important. Then you
yes,
won't have any ethical dilemmas.
this will be the ideal.
Mhm.
Né? But you have about transparency. We talk about trust. We talk about honesty. You have a lot of skills that you must develop or must align with the values or the principles or the mission of the companies to go together. If you stay in the company only by your salary or only by the money you earn at the end of the month, you don't have specific spiritual principles to follow on to follow on this company, to work in this company. So if you uh, if you have uh, this alignment between your principles and the principles of the company, certainly if you stay in the company, you stay only for the money, and you can't say that for me. It's clear. Many people remains or works in companies only by the money, only by the salary, and they don't see their well-being. And I believe that work and happiness, they must walk together.
For sure, we spend almost 8 hours, or if not more, in our work environment. If you're not happy there, what
Yes,
what's the meaning of being there, you know? But let's talk about this positive energy that leaders need to develop, like with the syringe and everything. Are there any signs or indicators that the leaders can look out to ensure that they are embodying this positive leader and creating a supportive work environment for
yes,
them?
yes. You may evaluate it for example, for the high employee engagement. You may evaluate it uh, if you are a good communicator. You may evaluate it about the satisfaction of the team members to have you as a leader. You may evaluate it by the personal development. Each team member, how it develops himself to be better every day. How the a member use his energy to growth as as people or as a worker in that company. And the maybe maybe the most important is low levels of stress and burnout. I believe this the mental mental and physical health is a good indicator that the leadership is going well.
I agree with you. Yes. And we talk a lot about the self-awareness, like communicating well, having feedback. How leaders can create a culture that encourage people to have an open communication, feedback, and continuous learning in for their team.
Well, maybe one of the most important is to establish psychological safety.
Hmm.
If you have psychological safety, it means that each team member certainly will work happy and uh, with no aspects that may develop stress and burnout. So this is very important, and I see that many companies are not aware that psychological safety is very important for productivity and, of course, profit.
Yeah,
The
one
other,
another.
yes, but you may communicate your expectations. You lead by example. It's important. So, uh, always rewarding learning and foster learning opportunities. So you have a lot of the attitudes that you can contribute to the continuous learning of the team.
And in your book, you emphasize the importance of personal growth and continuous development. So, what are some practical steps and strategies that leader can take to enhance their leadership skills and foster their own growth?
Well, uh, the first one is seek feedback. This is very important for everyone to evaluate himself in which level he is. Second, reflect on experiences. So you may take time for yourself reflection on past experiences and leadership decisions. The other one is networking and mentoring. This is very important to achieve this goal. And have clear goals, set clear goals, not impossible objectives to reach, and lead by example. I believe these are some some important things to leaders' growth and development.
You said a lot about mentoring. I will add that also coaching helped me out a lot as an entrepreneur. And I think if you really want to take a look on your skills, your values, and everything, a coach can help you out a lot. What
Yes.
advice do you give for aspiring leaders who aspire to be positive agents of change and make a lasting impact through their leadership?
Uh, this is the 1 million question. But I told, as I wrote in my book, am I the leader that I will follow.
Put yourself in other shoes. Yes, that's so important.
This is, if you don't look inside you, if you don't look to yourself, and you have the skills to lead, you will not lead. So this is the question. If you want to be a true leader, you may develop the answer of this simple question. Am I the leader that I will follow? That's it.
So
Simple.
simple, yes. Simple things, but
We,
hard to
we,
implement,
we,
isn't it?
we may we may talk 4 hours or an 8 hours course only to answer this question.
Wow. Roberto, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening episode of Wisdom Woman podcast with Dr. Luiz Roberto Fava. We hope that the insights shared here today have shed a light on the hidden challenge of leadership and provide you with valuable strategies for personal and professional growth. If you're ready to dive deeper into the topic of leadership and explore further resources to support your journey, we encourage you to check out Dr. Fava's book on the holistic well-being and leadership. This insightful work offers profound wisdom and practical guidance to unlock true potential as a leader. Luiz, where can they find your books?
At Amazon.com.
Perfect.
You may look for the title, Leadership, The Dark Side of Leadership, or using my name, Luiz Roberto Fava, and the book will be there in the two forms, for ebook, for Kindle, and paperback.
Perfect. Thank you once again for being part of Wisdom Woman community. Stay tuned for more empowering episodes where we celebrate remarkable people and explore the wisdom that empower us all. Until next time, take care, stay empowered, and continue embracing the wisdom within.
Thank you very much, Betina.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for listening to Wisdom for Nonprofits. To hear past and future episodes, please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast channel. We appreciate your reviews and suggestions for future show topics. If you have a question or a suggestion, please write to us at podcast@wity.tech. More resources are available for you at our website, wity.tech. And please join us in the Wisdom for Nonprofits group on LinkedIn. Wisdom for Nonprofits is copyright 2019 by Betina Pflug and wity.tech. All rights reserved.